trying to make more money, I have a really cool analogy for you. There's these group of people that lived in this village, and they were trying to get water from the river all the way up to the village. They had these little buckets. This is like way back in the day, so they didn't have a lot of technology. The most talented guys were the ones who could bring up the most water, and therefore were the most rewarded. So they could run down there and bring 2 buckets, maybe even 2 buckets in each hand, and they'd run down and fill them up, bring back these buckets of water. However, the supply was limited to only as much as they could carry. Whoever could carry the most had the most production. Now, there were other people who began to invent the little straps where they could start loading on 5 or 6 buckets, and the strongest guys could load up maybe 8 buckets or whatever. These people, they had to take a little time to where they weren't running buckets of water back and forth as they were building their little straps, right? But once they did, even the very average or weak person was able to go down and bring up 4 or 5 buckets on each side of their straps. Therefore, these weaker people were able to outperform the most talented and strong people in the village. The technology was able to surpass the talent and the strength of a person. The smartest of the people were actually working on building an entire pipeline from the river to the village. And this took a long time, but ultimately it worked, and this pipeline was able to just bring constant water flow to the village. That obviously outperformed the first 2 people. Not only did it outperform them, but it also was not requiring them to physically run down every little bit. Because in the first 2 examples, even though certain people were more productive than others, it still required them to be working a lot more. What does this analogy mean? A lot of us are like this first guy. You might even be very talented, smart, charming, good with sales or whatever. You can perform better than almost any other person. The thing though is, we're not in the day and age where your talent matters as much anymore. We have technology. We have skills with knowledge out there that we can learn. Average people can learn how to scale or leverage their skill sets and outperform even very talented people. If you're stuck, you want to make more money, but you just feel stuck and you don't really know what to do, you got to be thinking in terms of, how do I accomplish more than what just I can do? Or other ways to say that is, how can I solve bigger problems? In this simple case, it would be an average person saying, how can I carry more water than what I'm capable of carrying? The answer is they couldn't carry more than these other people, but they could build something that allowed them to carry more. So they were able to use their back strength and their leg strength versus just their arms. In work, maybe there's some softwares you can use. Maybe you can learn more skills on how to sell something. Whatever industry you're in, there's going to be problems to solve. And whoever can solve these big problems are the ones who are going to be having money flow to them. What you want to do is you want to be creating pipelines. And that's going to be more of you're creating streams of income. That's going to be through businesses or investments, partnerships. With those things, that's going to be more of a passive thing that comes over time. But in the beginning, you're going to need to learn how to make more money for your time. It's not good to go get another job. You do have to do what you have to do to make ends meet. I understand that, and I agree. But rather than getting a second and a third job, well, let's back up. Let's say you're making $12 an hour and you want to make more money, so you get a second job where you make $12 an hour. I would argue and say, with that extra time, instead of getting a second job, why don't you learn more skills? Learn how to sell. There's a lot of money in sales. Learn how to market. Learn how to brand a little bit. Study some smart business gurus online. Learn how to do the things that other people can't. And now you start making $16 or $18 an hour or $20 an hour with the same amount of time as before. And then with all your extra time, you learn more skills, or you start building a business, whatever your strategy is. That's what's so fun about this, is there's not one answer. There's many answers and one principle. The one principle is leverage. You need to learn how to make more of what you are, or to be able to accomplish more than what just you can do. You have to make more money for your time. You have to be able to do more than what your back can carry. That literally just comes with more skills and more knowledge, and it's accessible on YouTube and books, on everything, on Google. If you are in an industry where there is no opportunity to ever rise in making that money, then unless that's your passion, you should probably try to find something to where you can actually leverage yourself. Finding ways to expand your abilities and your opportunities. Sometimes you can have your normal job and you can use your extra time to learn skill sets and make money by freelance work or contracting work. So maybe you're a teacher, or maybe you are a salaried position at this software company. It's difficult to rise quickly to make more income, but that's fine. Maybe you love what you're doing, or it's consistent income. Don't get a second job. Learn more skills and then start a business on the side. If you start thinking of money in terms of this, you're going to be able to just double and triple and literally 10x your income. Because the thing about money is, when you're stuck in the mindset of, oh, I can only make $60,000 a year, I can only make $50,000 or $100,000 a year, what happens is you start putting yourself in the box of those rules. The thing about money is, it doesn't care about how hard you work. It just literally follows value. So you can hack the system and you can break some of the traditional norms, and you actually can 10x your money with the same amount of time that you're giving now. But I've been in this mindset for a lot of my life. If you can find a way to break out of that and just realize that money doesn't follow the same rules that 99% of the world teaches us. So you have to break those rules. You have to break what people tell you and listen and follow the people that know how money works. And then what you do is you just simply follow those rules and money will flow to that. Sometimes I see people that do make consistent income and they get frustrated with people that make a lot of money because they say, oh, this person doesn't work very hard, or they don't do this. Maybe it's not fair. I'm not saying if it is fair or not. I'm just saying how it works. And no matter how hard we bitch and moan about it, it's not going to change the rules of money. Peace.